Segment achat esrei, nikud achat, nikud dalet. Vayeduberu et kol divrei hamelech asher ketuvim al haluchot. Vayeduberu et kol divrei hamelech asher ketuvim al haluchot. In this segment, we'll take up the skill of describing an action in such a way that the effect of that action receives more focus than the person who caused it. We will limit ourselves to participles in this particular exploration. Consider for a moment how you would express the idea one who is found in Hebrew. Notice that this employs the passive voice. Perhaps there is a hiker and they've been lost, and then that person is found after the rescuers set out and discover him or her. Now, to say one who is found, passive voice, we would employ a nifal participle, nimtza. Here we are reminded of the typical relationship between call and nifal. What is active in the call will often be supplied with its passive counterpart by the nifal. Motze, one who finds, nimtza, one who is found. Both participles, first in the call, the other in the nifal. In this segment, we'll discover that nifal is not the only place to which we should go when seeking the passive counterpart of a call participle. Once again, when seeking the passive counterpart of a call participle, nifal is not the only place for us to search for the appropriate expression. Some verbs attest a passive participle located right within the call binyan. It's called a call passive participle. You see one of them in the heading, in the expression ketuvim, that which is written. You can recognize call passive participles by the U vowel following the second radical. It will be either a shurek or a kibbutz. So ketuvim may be spelled with a shurek, or ketuvim may be spelled with a kibbutz following the tav. Let's pause for a moment to observe 4 sample call passive participles in actual usage in the Hebrew Bible. To begin with, consider the shoresh asar. Now, if it were an active participle in the call, it would be pronounced oser, oser, one who binds. But if instead the focus is on the effect, one who is bound, this is supplied with the call passive participle pronounced asur, asur. Here is a biblical excerpt. Melech asur barahatim. Melech asur barahatim. The king is held captive, bound, or held captive in her tresses. Next, saraf. The active participle, and here we'll be employing a feminine one, is sorefet, sorefet, one who burns. The passive participle, will continue with the feminine singular form, is serufa, serufa. Notice the U vowel following the second radical, as in asur above. Now the biblical excerpt. Ha'ir serufa ba'esh. Ha'ir serufa ba'esh. The city, feminine, was burned, feminine participle, with fire. It would be the context of this excerpt from 1 Samuel 30, which would dictate that we would render the participle as past. Example Gimel, the shoresh katav, and now we'll be following masculine plural participles. Kotvim would be active, ones who write. Passive would be ketuvim. Notice the U vowel, this time a kibbutz, following the second radical. Ketuvim means ones which are written. Now the biblical excerpt from Exodus 32, Luchot ketuvim mishnei Avrehem. Luchot ketuvim mishnei Avrehem. Tablets which were written on both of their sides. Example dalet from the shoresh natan, the active participle, and now we're following with feminine plural. Active participle meaning ones who give, note, note to note. If focusing instead on the effect, then the call passive participle we would use would be pronounced to note. Again, notice the U vowel, a kibbutz, following the second radical. The biblical excerpt, Tzonecha netunot le'oyevecha. Tzonecha netunot le'oyevecha. Your flock will be given to your enemies. This time context dictates a future time frame for the participle. Call passive participles are not particularly common in the Hebrew Bible, and for that reason have not been introduced until this point in your study. Here are 6 of the most frequently occurring call passive participles. We'll read down the columns. Arur, Bachur, Balul, Baruch, Katuv, and Pakud.